Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, we're doing a movie episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's trying to fuck their maker with me tonight? It's close, isn't it?
I really got nothing to say.
I never did say an order. Oops.
You didn't. I was frantically searching for the order, and I could not find
there
it.
wasn't one.
You're him, so.
And what is your name?
I said it. Tiffany Albertin. Tiffany Peterson. Who am I today?
Nice.
And who was with me? It starts with a K.
Hey everybody, it's Kenneth Sanity, and I'm going to give you the episode I never had.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. And I am Bill from A Gamer Looks at 40, and I assume I need no introduction.
See, I'm a little rusty about how to do openings. I've only made 750 some of these things, so I forget to give the order in the chat. You know?
You'll get it around 1,000. Don't worry.
Yeah,
It's all fine.
it's okay, babe. You're new to this.
I feel like it's updates. Oh, God. So we are here to talk about a Patreon voted movie from September that I'm finally getting to recording this the end of 2024. You'll hear it in early 2025. Interview with the Vampire, directed by Neil Jordan, and came out in 1994?
Yes.
And distributed by Warner Brothers.
So I was surprised that it didn't have like a 30-year anniversary thing, because Fandango and was it Fathom Events does that a lot. And it didn't.
Yeah.
If it did, it didn't come to our theater.
I would have saw this again in
Same.
theaters.
I saw it in theaters, yeah.
It's Warner Brothers, though. Fandango doesn't do a lot with Warner.
Warner doesn't have any
Fathom.
money. They're too busy trying to pay their CEO. They don't have any money. So, Warner Bros. Is the one that scrapped 2 movies just for tax write-offs. So, hey.
Release Coyote versus Acme, you cowards.
So I always like to kind of talk about our history with this movie. I'd seen this movie once or twice before. I've read the book. It would have been early 2000s. I got big into vampire stuff at one point, and I ended up reading the 5 books of the series. And then I stopped after the main stuff, the main Vampire Chronicles, and then I bought a bunch of them. I just never got around to reading them. But I really like Anne Rice's stuff, and I remember really liking this movie. Tiffany, what is your history with this film?
I don't remember. I'm almost positive I didn't see it in the theaters, but I don't remember how I saw it. But when I saw it, I fell in love with it. I was obsessed.
I can believe that. And Ken?
I have a sordid history with this movie. I remember wanting to read the books when they came out, but since I was a young child, my mom said, no, absolutely not. And then when the movie came out and I wanted to see it, my mom said, no, absolutely not. You're 14 years old.
All the more reason to see it.
Yeah, you'd think. I don't want to put words in my mom's mouth. I can't say for sure. I think maybe it was something to do with the homosexual content of the books. It didn't work. But
Yeah.
I did eventually get this on VHS tape and the book for Christmas from my mother. Now you all know why I am the way I am. And I love it. I was in.
I can believe that. And Bill?
So I was not into vampires when I was 15 when this came out, or 14, whatever it was. Yeah, I guess 94 or 14. I had never seen this before last night before watching this, to which my wife exclaimed, "You've never seen that before?" I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Well, enjoy your softcore porn then." And I'm like, "Wait, what? What am I in for?" And I say, well, I'm like, "Well, I'm probably not gonna enjoy that." But she's like, I'm like, "You've seen this?" And my wife has seen this. She's read the book. Evidently, this was a very big deal. This is one of those movies I was always told by my friends was not good. I've always been told by people of varying level of craptitude was not good. And I think I just never saw this because I always assumed it wasn't good.
That's
so I
fair.
had very low expectations going into it. I was like, oh, Infantry with the Vampire? I'm like, I don't know. Just got back from like a trip. Like, I don't know. Fine, I'll watch it. And I watched it last night with low expectations, and I thought it was great. This is really, really good.
Like, it still holds up.
And so take it from somebody who's watched it for the first time last night, not with very low expectations, assuming that I may have to, like, I don't know, do a little Pokemon playing during the boring parts and like just kind of get through it to be converse on the show. I was engaged. I was involved. I was entranced in the story. I don't know. I think this is exactly the sort of, I don't know. I don't want to say poor me wallowing, because it really is a story about grief. Like, it's just about
It is.
grief. And we'll talk about the merits of this movie. I think this is exactly the sort of just sad, kind of moribund vampire movie I've needed for my current mental health for the last 2 months, which has been much of the same kind of like, hey, I have so much podcast stuff to do and I'm just not going to do it. And look at that. No one cares. It's been a very challenging mental health month for me. I know I sound up because I'm now performing on a show, but it's been a rough month and a half or so. And I think this just scratched an itch I didn't know I needed. I think I needed to be on a journey with Brad Pitt and just wallow for 200 years because I don't know. 'Tis the season, I guess.
'Tis the season to wallow.
I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of grief in this movie because she wrote it right after her daughter had died.
Oh, is that
I did not know that.
I did not know that.
Until earlier today, I was watching I had a YouTube video playing in the background while I was driving.
YouTube.
And it mentioned that she wrote this right after her daughter had died, who I think was doing quick math, like 7 years old. So, yeah.
How'd she die?
I just know she died. So that's all I know. But it's just like, it makes sense. Like when you go back and like think about the movie, because the movie is pretty close to the book. There's some big changes, but it tries to capture that same feel. And it is a very depressing story of immortality. But still is really good.
So, Bill, assuming since you never saw the movie, you haven't seen the series.
No, I didn't know there was a series until I was searching for it on Netflix, and then that came up, and I was like, "Oh, you guys did this again, huh? Okay, cool." So I had no idea there was a series. Is it good?
Really good. We haven't seen the second season, but I became obsessed again.
It was really good. I've always liked Anne Rice. Like, this is written by Anne Rice, but from what I was seeing online, the director also wrote things, and they don't know if they just credited her because contract-wise they had to, or if he just said, no, I'm not, don't give me credit. But
he's like, I don't know how this is.
Part of the deal when he took the job was, I write the script. So it was one of those, I don't think it's been noted, like, what the case was here, if it's actually all her script, or he changed things, or we just don't know what.
He wrote his own stuff, and that was a big part of it. But the Writers Guild, being the Writers Guild, he couldn't actually get a credit on it.
Oh, okay. I mean, can they put both in there? I mean, they do it other times.
But I think it has to do with the percentage. Like a certain percentage of the new material has to be written in order to get a credit. And maybe he didn't rewrite the whole thing. Maybe he just added stuff in that he wanted to add in.
Okay.
So
that union stuff is super weird and hard to follow.
That also,
I just don't know.
That surprised me a little, because when I first saw her name, like, oh, like Anne Rice, wrote the screenplay. I'm like, okay, that's impressive. And I guess this movie was in development hell for 20 years.
20 years?
Yeah.
Right after she wrote the book, people were like, oh, we'll make a movie of it. And somebody bought the rights, and they just kept moving it around.
Yeah, they bought the rights before the book even came out.
Really? So it was that big of because this was a huge hit as a book, right?
Oh,
yes.
Monstrous.
30 years ago, Twilight.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because this really starts the vampire stuff, to the mainstream for people, I feel like. Well, that I want to fuck the vampire, not vampires in general, but this is very much of the horny vampires.
No.
Like Twilight. Everybody wants to fuck the Twilight vampires. I mean,
there's been plenty of horny fucking vampires.
But
like before this, the 60s were a pretty watermark time for horny vampires.
Was Buffy before or after this?
Buffy's 90s, the show.
Okay, this is 94, hence my question.
I don't know.
Okay.
The movie is 80s, I think. The terrible Buffy movie I've heard.
Yeah, there is a cult classic for that movie. I am not.
Never seen it, nor do I want to. This is also the first Tom Cruise movie done on the show, which is weird.
Really? You haven't?
We've never done a Tom Cruise movie yet.
Wow. Huh.
Despite all my efforts.
What's we could do a Tom Cruise pool. Tom Cruise, is there a month that begins with T? No, there is not. So I don't know. What's everyone's take on Tom Cruise, since we've never discussed the actor on this show? Yay,
I don't like him in
crazy person.
This, but I
don't like him in this.
Not really, but I don't like him as a person, but he's a good actor. I like him more Mission Impossible and more action-y type things in this. I mean, he does a fine job in this. Like, he isn't bad at all. It just, he does play a good villain. But I don't know. There's just something about him that rubbed me the wrong way in this movie, but he does a fine job. Like, I have no issue. I like a lot of his movies.
He just keeps seeming to do Mission Impossible shit, and I'm not Mission.
He does. The Mummy movie is Mission Impossible, I think, too. He's just who he is now.
He's like stuck on that movie. I'm not a fan of that, but he has done some other good movies I like.
Ken, what do you think of Tom Cruise? Oh.
Yeah, what do you think of Tom Cruise?
I love Tom Cruise. Has he made some not great movies? Absolutely. Is he a person of questionable standing as far as actually being a human? Probably.
Yes.
But that man can act.
Mm-hmm.
He's an extremely reliable actor. Extremely reliable.
Like, I've talked about how much I love Michael Mann's Collateral on the show before.
Yes.
And he is exceptional in that movie. He is, in my opinion, exceptional in this movie. He is everything those Mission Impossible movies need to have in a leading man. He was good in The Firm, the movie based on John Grisham's bestseller.
I forgot he was in that.
He's good. He was great in Tropic Thunder. He was great in Night and Day. Yeah, he was good in Jerry Maguire. Like, there's so many more hits for Tom Cruise than misses.
What was that
in
one?
my opinion,
where he's like in a dream or something? Like he
Vanilla Sky?
Probably.
I think that's it. Vanilla Sky.
Cameron Diaz.
Yes, I think that was decent. I thought that was good, but people did not like
He's
it.
sensationally good in Magnolia. He's great in A Few Good Men. I mean, you can go on and on with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, he has some
Eyes Wide Shut, which I think is an underrated movie. I like Eyes Wide Shut a lot. Wasn't directed by someone named Stanley Kubrick, it'd be much better received than it is currently. I like that movie. We should do a Kubrick. We should just go through Kubrick like in rapid order one day. Anyway,
I'd rather do that with Mission Impossible, but go off.
That's fair. That's fair. I actually would like to do it. Mission Impossibles are fun too. Anyway, I think Tom Cruise is extremely reliable. If I was going to have the conversation though between if I'd take Brad Pitt over Tom Cruise, I'm more of a Brad Pitt fan. I think Brad Pitt takes more risks with his roles. He'll do almost anything, and he always gives it his all. I just like him as an actor a little bit more than Tom Cruise. But Tom Cruise is exceptional. He's a personification of a leading man in Hollywood, and he is very good in this. I think Brad Pitt. Some of the stuff I read about and after watching the movie was Brad Pitt feels a little wooden. I think Brad Pitt's very good in this as well. Same. I think Tom Cruise is more fun, but I definitely think Brad Pitt as this kind of emotional linchpin, this vampire who I've said this forever about vampirism. I don't see the appeal. It sounds terrible. It sounds like the worst deal ever. Like living to be, and I love the idea of Tom Cruise, and we'll talk about the movie. I don't know if we're going beat by beat, if we're just going to pinball it. I love the idea of these two dandies who are so freaking bored. Because I would just be bored. I mean, yes, within like 80 years, I'd clear out my Steam, my wish list, my backlog. My backlog would be gone. I'd watch all the movies I've ever watched. It'd be 80 years, but now I have the rest of, I don't know, eternity to fill. Eventually, it'd be a terribly dull existence every day, going out, eating, going back. Like I love how this movie really captures this kind of duality, and I think Brad Pitt does a really nice job of his duality between the morals of a mortal person and kind of the inconvenient truth of being immortal. Like you have this power, but there's also a lot of drudgery, and I think he captures that very well. And while it comes out to this kind of emotional, almost kind of emotional, not a flat line, but a steady line almost of emotional weight, it works really well because I felt like I could really connect with that. I felt like, yeah, dude, I feel you. This is not a good deal. You took a bad deal because you were in pain, and now you're paying the price for it, and you're not as crazy evil as Tom Cruise. So, yeah.
And you were preyed on by a predator. I mean, that's a lot of it too, is that Tom Cruise's character, Lestat, takes advantage of him because he is in this miserable state.
And he was young. How young are we saying? 19? He vaguely gives an age description.
24. He explicitly says 24.
Does he say 24?
Yeah, it is 24 because
damn, I didn't listen close enough.
I was 24, younger than you are now, but times were different. I was a man at that age, master of a large plantation.
Go on, Ken. Go.
And the only reason I remember it too is because they repeat it at the end when he's listening back to the tape, and that's the only reason I.
Oh,
When he's listening back to the tape at the very end, they repeat that little beginning part. Yeah, a little nugget. But yeah, I think all the performances in this are good. Kirsten Dunst in her very
Amazing.
first role is incredible. Did she win supporting actress or was she nominated? I know she was nominated for some.
She got nominated for Golden Globe.
A Golden Globe. Okay. I don't think she won, but she's phenomenal. She's really good in this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's absolutely amazing. To be able to hold your own at, what, 12?
12, I think.
Against
12
Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
Like, fuck off. You're good.
Yeah, you got some skills. You have some skills, Miss Kirsten. And she's she's great. She's definitely a breath of energy when the movie needs it. Then you have rounding out the vampires, you have Antonio Banderas.
Oh,
Shows up.
Antonio Banderas.
Antonio.
only in part of this movie.
And just for like about 45 minutes worth, maybe one act worth of movie. And he's
On the
good.
back half of it. Oh, he's great.
He's great.
Fine for me.
Really good. I just, again, as this kind of, and Stephen Ray, who is having the time of his life in he's great too. All
the mimic vampire?
Yeah, that's Santiago.
He did so good.
I love seeing Stephen Ray show up here. We did see him recently, well, fairly recently, for us at least. Last in V for Vendetta, he was Mr. Fitch.
Yep.
Oh,
Right. That's right.
okay.
We also have a very young Thandie Newton
Yes.
as one of Brad Pitt's slave attendants.
Oh, the Yvette?
Yeah. Like she was, I think this was one of her first, at least speaking appearances, maybe?
Wait, who is that?
That
Thandie
was
Newton.
I don't know.
I don't know what it
I
is
don't
either.
recognize the name though.
She was in Mission Impossible 2 with Tom Cruise.
Oh, now I know. Okay.
I don't know.
That's okay. You don't need to see Mission Impossible 2. You skip that one.
I'm sure someday I'll be watching a movie, but not today.
You will be, yes.
Today, Satan, not today.
Not number 2. You can skip 2. 1, 3, 4, 5.
So it wasn't her first movie, but it looks like her first big movie.
Yeah, she's done a lot of work. I think she was in Pursuit of Happiness, which is a movie that's a little schmaltzy, but I do like. It's very earnest.
Mhm.
I appreciate earnest. She's another great actress.
Riddick.
Oh, Chronicles.
Riddick.
Yep.
That's
Rock
a
and
movie.
Rolla. Like she's done stuff.
Yeah. So a lot of actors getting, and then of course you have Christian Slater. He's so good.
Christian Slater.
You know what? That is exactly the energy I had when he showed up. Like, Christian Slater.
Christian
I was
Sorry,
happy about it until I remembered that the reason Christian Slater is in this role is because River Phoenix died a month before this movie
Yeah, I've read about that.
was happening. And like I remember hearing that River Phoenix had died, and I was bummed, man. I loved River Phoenix.
I loved River Phoenix. That was sad.
And he would have killed this role. But Christian
100%.
Slater, no slouch. Did great. Donated his whole paycheck to River Phoenix's 2 favorite charities.
Oh.
Didn't keep
That
a
was
cent from this movie.
Awesome. That's just good dude stuff right there. That's awesome.
Yeah, you don't.
That's what happens when you get Christian
Don't see
Slater.
people like that anymore.
No. Don't see Chris Slater a lot in movies either. So
Well, not recently.
he's old though, I guess. So all right.
Call them people old.
He's older.
In the mood to be offended today.
I don't know anything about this director. I was scrolling through Neil Jordan's filmography. Nothing we've done on the show. I've
No.
seen one of his movies. I've seen Excalibur before. And I think that's it.
The Crying Game was. They said on IMDb that The Crying Game is what got him this movie, and The Crying Game was a phenomenon. As the resident old here, I remember everybody and their mother talking about it and saying, "Oh, don't spoil the twist. You can't spoil the twist." You know, before M. Night Shyamalan was the thing.
Yep. I too, as a member of the olds, remember the Crying Game was a really big deal. I remember. I was 14, 15. Okay, Crying Game was what, 92? I was all of 12,
1992.
but I still remember it being a thing people were talking about, like at the barber shop, like, oh, the Crying Game. Yeah. So yeah, I remember that being a thing. I remember watching it years later and be like, oh, that's actually quite good. It's a good movie.
Also starring Stephen Ray.
Yeah. End of the Affair is another Neil Jordan joint. I forgot that was a Neil Jordan joint until I was reading up on it after.
Good.
It's a great movie, and that was a classic. I can't say film school, but we studied that one in one of my film classes in college. Oh boy, did we study End of the Affair over and over and over again. Because it's a very well-known book. It's an excellent adaptation of a book, and it was a adaptation from book to film class, and we studied End of the Affair, and it's an excellent movie.
Okay.
Also starring Stephen Ray.
The only movie I know on here that I haven't seen, but I remember wanting to see is the Brave one from 2007 with Jodie Foster. I remember wanting to see that. I never did though yet.
You should definitely watch In Dreams.
Okay.
Have I seen In Dreams? Hang on a second. Let me look.
In Dreams is a hell of a thing. Robert Downey Jr. plays a killer. That's all you need to know.
I think I have seen this.
Psychological thriller. That's up my alley. So
yeah. Hey, you know who else is in that movie?
Stephen Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just took a stab at it. Nice.
Apparently, he's just in a lot of Neil Jordan movies.
I mean, that does happen though. Like where directors just have certain actors they like working with a lot.
Well, look at Kevin Smith. Look at Mike Flanagan. Like, people have their favorites, and God bless them.
Good. I love that.
Keep your friends employed. Make that happen.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm good with that. All right, and Ken, what is the plot of this movie?
Oh my God, we went so far past it. I didn't think we were going to do it.
I'm just waiting.
After losing his wife and child, plantation owner Louis de Pontelac longs for death. Unfortunately for him, he finds the opposite in Lestat de Lioncourt, a vampire who turns him into an eternal damnation machine. Together with their fledgling bloodsucker daughter Claudia, they weave their way through the years and bodies while Louis continues to search for the answer to his existence and whether he can ever be redeemed.
Yep.
Years and bodies.
Hey, not wrong.
Years and bodies. And boy, oh boy, are there a lot of bodies in this movie. There's quite
really
a body
are.
count. Quite the body count in this one. Yeah. Summated. I guess so. Sure.
Summarized.
Close enough.
Summarized.
And we can just talk about the movie as a whole. We don't need to go beat for this one.
Fair.
It's really 2 acts or 3 acts. I get. Well, they travel from 2 different areas.
Like, it's your general 3-act structure, like normal. Like
A normal movie.
The movie construction is nothing special. The way Neil Jordan has it shot, absolutely brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this movie is very sumptuous. It lets you linger because it's mostly at night. And instead of having, cold lighting, you get all the warmth of, candlelight and lanterns, and you get all these, deep yellows and reds as close to having a sunlight as you can get at night.
To the point when you get to the modern day after the first hour and 45 minutes, when you get to finally modern day, it is jarring. When you first see neon on that, there's that one of the final scenes where Brad Pitt is leaving the movie theater because he just wants to see a sunrise. Because he's going to see, I think the movie's In Sunrise or whatever. I forget what it's called.
Tequila Sunrise, I think.
Tequila Sunrise. That was it, right? Tequila Sunrise. And that movie theater, unfortunately, is no longer there. It was burned down in 2006, unfortunately. So you cannot go on an interview with the Vampire Tour and see that theater he walked out of. It is no longer there. When you first see those neon, it's really striking because you are so used to soft, natural light, darkness. And it really is kind of just like emblazons when that happens. So yeah, no, totally agree. This is shot beautifully. Costuming is absolutely sensational. I mean, don't know how this movie was not nominated for costuming. I didn't look. Maybe it was. I didn't check. Hopefully it was. Hopefully we can do that in retrospect. But yeah, no, it was it's a really beautifully shot. Yeah. And this was nominated for Best Art Direction. So for that year. So, okay. Yeah.
It didn't win, of course. Yeah, I think it was also nominated for Best Score.
Yep, it was.
Best Original Score, correct.
Also didn't win.
And it got nominated for a Blockbuster Entertainment Award, too.
Hey.
Hell yeah.
What's up, Blockbuster?
And I think this movie is considered horror romance, is what the internet told me when I was picking it up to watch it.
Or it's considered romance, I suppose.
Yeah.
It is. Like,
Dark
there are romantic things happening here and there. Like, I think, and it bothers me to say this, but probably the most romantic relationship is between the 24-year-old and the 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Right?
Well, it's interesting, and there we can cross that bridge a little bit. I find this maybe romantic. I don't think this is a terribly sexy movie at all. Like I was expecting the way my wife was describing it, like whew, clutch my pearls and all. But I find this actually very sad in that there are sexy things happening, but I don't think this is a terribly sexy movie.
See, I think it's sensual more than sexual.
That's a good word.
Yeah, perhaps. But I always know that there's an undercurrent of even when Tom Cruise is being sensual and turning on his victims, there's still a victim at the end of that. I know what the end game is. So maybe that couches it a bit for me. It's kind of the spider and the fly scenario.
Entirely fair.
So maybe that's fair.
The sexy part is in between Lewis and Lestat.
Yes.
I mean, that's it for me, part of my issue is I read the book. I don't remember the book, but I watched the show last year, and like that really goes on to like their relationship. So like this movie was let down a little bit for me because of the show, and I had to
really
it was really good. So I had to make sure I didn't, when I was trying to watch this movie and review it critically, like I can't think about the show. I just have to look at the movie and enjoy the movie and respect, not lower the movie a peg because it doesn't have the same time as the show does. But no, there's definitely a love affair between the two characters. I mean, I think they kind of hit it a little bit because it's 94, but like in the book, I think it's much more apparent that there's a type of love there.
See, I don't think it's not in the movie. Like, I think it's there. I think
it's there, but it's not as obvious.
Yeah, it's not the wildly passionate love that they hint at in the book, but it's not actually there. They have big married for 20 years energy.
Totally. Yes.
Yeah.
They are. Yes.
Years of energy.
Yeah. No, totally. I 100% agree with that. They have the vibe of an old love. Yeah, like an old love, like a worn in affection. I totally understand that. Evidently, I think from what I understand, some of the more gay parts of the book were toned down because it was the 90s. Also, I think it was Brad Pitt who said he had a terrible time on this shoot because he was constantly in the dark, and it was like 6 months of darkness. He evidently was to the point where he almost wanted to renegotiate his contract and get out of it, but he could not. Oh. So if he looks a little grumpy, it's probably because he was sitting in darkness for 6 months. I mean, I'll make anybody a little sour.
I will.
Yeah. Well, depending on who you listen to, Brad Pitt was no peach to work with either.
Oh. I'm sure. That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, he's Brad Pitt. He's allowed to be,
I don't know if he was allowed at this point.
Not at this point.
No, he's still not a big. I mean, I feel like this movie helped him get big.
His breakout was Thelma and Louise. I looked it up, and I didn't realize it.
That wasn't his. That was just his first major one.
They said it was his breakout. Google says Ken.
Google shit. Let me tell you, his breakout was Legends of the Fall.
Oh sure.
That was a good movie. I forgot.
Never seen that.
It's pretty good.
I say that a lot, though. I've never realized.
Yeah. We need like 50 more movies Mike hasn't seen polls.
We're not doing that again.
No, that was fun.
But yes, there's a few we could put on there. Mike needs to see a lot more movies. That is definitely a true fact.
Sometimes I question why I married this man because of that fact.
So, like, I want to give a shout out real quick to the tagline that was on the movie poster. Drink from me and live forever. What the fuck, dude? That's the hottest goddamn thing. Oh, wow. And it's never said in the movie.
No, it's not.
Like, it's wild.
I wonder why it's not in the movie.
Like, that would have been a good, when he was trying to convince him, drink from me and live forever.
Yeah. I mean, I would take a song that they start singing, Who Wants to Live Forever? But, I'm fine with just say that the line, too.
What's wrong?
It's already in a movie. You can't do it.
Yeah, Highlight already came out at this point. I love that movie, by the way. Such a good movie's nothing. I love the show. That's neither here nor there.
It's a show.
Yeah, it's a movie first. There's actually 3 movies, but we don't talk about the second one. And then there's a show.
You don't do anything.
Yeah, I'm noticing that.
Like, more than just having 20 years married energy, to me at least, Lestat and Louis give off big old queen energy.
Yes.
Like, just the way that Lestat's like, oh, shut up, Louis. Like, it's just oh, you guys have been together forever. You kind of hate each other, but you also, like, if anybody said anything bad about them, you would kill them.
Right.
Like, it's kind of cute, very hostile. Don't love the fact that so much of this is couched in domestic violence.
Yeah. That's
But
not
to
bad.
be fair, they're also undead, so.
Yeah, they're undead and they heal. So, like,
How you figure out your family squabbles is how you figure out your family squabbles. As long as no one's permanently hurt, as long as no one's being burned alive, I think.
having their throat cut after being drugged.
Yeah.
Fed
Well,
to the
hey, listen.
crocodiles,
It's fine.
to the crocodiles.
They did. They put up with the crocodiles.
That there is no more New Orleans way of dispatching somebody than feeding to the
Feeding to the
goddamn crocodiles. That is so cold-blooded.
I was also thinking, I don't think they say the word slaves in this movie either, at least not for a bit.
No, they do, don't they?
I don't think he did. Because at first I was thinking, oh, they work there. I'm like, oh yeah, never mind, it's 1700s, buddy. What are you thinking here? Like,
Well, I mean, he says owner of a large plantation. They're not in,
What kind of
Yeah, I know.
they're not getting minimum wage.
Yeah.
I don't know where my brain went, but for some reason it didn't click. Like, oh yeah, they're not there by choice, buddy. I was also thinking that there should be more people around too, because if you have a plantation, and you have slaves, you have other people around, not just you and your vampire buddy. But I guess you can't have other people around because you're gonna eat them. So
Yeah, more people equal more suspicious. One of the things that this movie really had to deal with when it was being in production was the pushback from fans and Anne Rice about the casting of Tom Cruise as Lestat.
Yes, I read all
Why?
about this. Yeah.
I remember this.
Oh, really?
Like,
Okay.
Yeah, I was there, and
Do tell.
I had friends who were seething about it. No, he can't do it. It's all wrong. Lestat's a monster, and Tom Cruise is a word that we don't say anymore because it's very offensive. Like, people were legitimately pissed off about this.
Oh no.
Yep, including Anne Rice, evidently. Because she
Anne
was
Rice was livid.
Anne Rice was
Originally,
livid about this.
She wanted Rutger Hauer, like when this movie was originally supposed to come out.
okay,
And man, Rutger Hauer as Lestat would have been tough, boy.
yeah, he doesn't have the right charm that Tom Cruise. Because I'm trying to think how to say it. Because Lestat has a certain type of charm to him that Rutger Hauer wouldn't have brought. And Tom Cruise does bring it okay.
He's got the charm in the second book. In the first book, he's a bully
Yes.
because it's all told from Louis's point of view. So I'm not saying that Louis is an unreliable narrator, but even vampires get in their own head and don't always tell the truth of things, especially one so wrapped up in Catholic guilt as Louis.
They go over that in the series, actually.
Yeah, and the second book, because she writes the second book 8 years later when she's not as depressed anymore, and so she makes it much, much different.
Oh, Lestat's such a joy in the second book. He becomes a rock star.
Literally.
Does he really?
Yes.
Oh, I need to read these books.
Oh, they're
Good.
They're gay as hell, but they're fun as shit. I love them.
I mean, he's not wrong.
I'm sold.
No, they are extreme. Look, this is your warning for anybody out there who's reading the book. If you have any problem at all with homosexuality, you will probably not like these books. They are so gay. And I mean that in
The best way.
not only the best way, but the accurate way. A lot of
Yes.
dude on dude, but
I mean,
not
to be-
like vulgar.
I mean, to be fair, if you live forever, I mean, like, it's just people forget that, like, it's just a natural thing. And people just get so caught up with religion and bullshit, like, it's different.
And honestly, there was not a lot of female vampires in this, probably because it's supposed to be gay.
There's a few
Not
in
as
France.
female.
No, because you have a few when they go to France.
Yes. But those are the first female vampires they encounter, aren't they?
Yes.
Claudia?
Besides Claudia.
And Claudia's a little girl. I think she's meaning more like
It's Claudia.
adult women, not a little girl that got bit.
I did say female, so.
Okay, yeah. You
There
did.
were some that were taken out of the book too.
Oh, were there?
I can't remember the book at
Some
all.
minor ones. I just did a read through of like the first 3 this year, so those are fresh in my mind.
Okay. I haven't read them since early-ish 2000s. So it's been a bit.
As far as adaptations go, I think this one was pretty all right. Yeah, they did change a lot of things. But, Armand not being 17 and Russian, that doesn't kill it for me because you got Antonio Banderas.
Yes.
Yes. Like, this is packed full of, like, very attractive looking men that were very popular at the time. And I think 12-year-old, 13-year-old Tiffany was very okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole, like, I was watching a video, and the whole reason Antonio Banderas is there and Tom Cruise is because star power. It makes sense. I mean, you want people to spend money on your movie, like, you need to have star power.
Yeah, and $60 million budget for this movie is wild.
That's a lot.
Is that low for, that's not low for 90s, is it?
That is high for 90s in this movie.
Okay.
That's high for a 90s vampire movie, which vampire movies and horror movies in general, up until that point, were really considered not lowbrow entertainment, but you didn't spend $60 million on them. You can get away with a spooky house and some wind chimes and be done with it. The amount of money spent on this was astronomical for the time. You didn't spend that kind of movie. You didn't spend that kind of money on this kind of movie.
Okay.
It's roughly $126 million in today's dollars.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
So not like Marvel money,
Yeah.
but pretty substantial. It's a substantial price to pay. And it's all on screen.
Oh, yeah.
Not just in the stars, but the way the movie looks. The effect work by Stan Winston. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
The
The
effects are
shots
fantastic.
are really good. The effects are great.
It's probably the most subtle vampire makeup that had been put to film at this point.
So I was confused by their complexions throughout the movie. Do they get paler when they need to feed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So is that why? So Brad Pitt in the beginning is super like ghost-like pale, and back to that scene at the end of the movie, he's got more veins.
Get hungry.
Hungry.
He needed to have some dinner.
Like he was going to kill Daniel. He was going to kill him, but then he started talking, and then Louis was like, "Oh, okay, all right. I'm picking up what you're putting down."
It's also a very 90s theme, like the whole idea of the guy's like, I just saw you and you were interesting, so I wanted to talk to you and interview you. It's very 90s.
It's very 70s.
Oh, yeah.
When the book came out, like that's...
Yeah. It was very 70s. So that's before all the serial... Never mind.
No, that was right around the time where serial killers were a problem.
I mean, they
Especially in
started,
California.
70s and the 80s.
I don't think they were as... Were people as aware?
Well,
Boys
I mean-
start disappearing.
Well, also in the 70s, people would disappear, and you might think, they just went to a different city. They just ran away with so-and-so, not... Yeah, they're underground about 6 feet from here. Like,
That's automatically where that goes today, though.
Today, now.
Something happened to them.
but even then, like, let's say here somebody's mother was trying to text you while you're at a movie theater and don't get back to her within an hour, and she thinks you're dead. Like, it's just the way world we live in now.
She did. But to be fair, I'm like that with her, too. I blame my dad.
well, like 76 was Son of Sam.
That's true.
Oh.
You're right.
So, and he was not the first widely known serial. So, I think it's safe to say that the serial killers were a thing by that point. But you're also still dealing with a lot of the coming off the hippie free love type thing where people were just cool with talking to people.
Yeah. Hey,
So,
man.
What's that?
Yeah, because it was, I forget the books are the 70s. That does make more sense. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Glad to help.
I like thinking about because you got to think about when fiction is created because the world around them is going to affect fiction.
Totally.
And this like all these murders. I do like the idea that since they're in the 1700s, they're murdering all these people and they're not really noticing all these people are missing.
It's the plague.
Yeah, they're in the middle of the plague. And people are dying all the time. This is
They're
prime
not
dying.
good
It's like, yeah, of course they're all dying. This is not surprising.
So what? My sister died last week. What's your point?
Yeah, you're like, come on. This is like,
The show goes into it really good to kind of like show you how they start getting like they're being more suspected in the show. Oh, yeah, the movie doesn't do that, but the movie doesn't have time for that either, and that's fine. Doesn't take away from the movie, but like there's a couple scenes that I really like when they're at because Lestat makes count how he likes to kill aristocrats, and he's talking about how that woman had this guy murder her husband, and then he's gonna go kill them, and Louis bites the poodles in front of her.
I know. Yeah.
It's kind of amusing how angry and frustrated Lestat gets with Louis at times.
I mean, like we said earlier, like it's like you've been married for too long and you're just angry at each other. Like, but you know,
It's like, come on, you know better. What's wrong with
like I know
you?
one thing I don't think was in this movie that's in the book is how Lestat doesn't get a second coffin for Louis right away, and he takes a while to do it to make Louis sleep with him.
Yeah, that wasn't in the movie. Definitely was in the book.
Yeah.
But
There's little things like that that kind of show more about Lestat. Like I think partly Lestat was just kind of taking advantage of the fact that Louis had money. Also, in the book, Louis has
he had a
more
lot of
family than we see here. He has a sister. He has other family members. Yeah, and
Didn't
it's
have
in
a
the book,
wife.
too. Yeah, and she's
Didn't
dead.
have a wife or a child. So like,
Yeah,
they
no,
made
he had
that
a
up in the
brother
movie.
that died.
Yeah, which again they did really well in the show. Pussyfooted around long enough. AMC did a 2-season series for Interview with the Vampire. Started in 2022, just recently ended its second season run. Very, it's pretty faithful to the book, but takes some very interesting steps in changing the story that almost kind of reframe Louis as unreliable narrator.
Yes, they do a very good job. Like Mike was
Yeah.
saying, they do a very good job of that in the series.
And unlike Mike and Tiff, I've actually watched season 2. I watched it this weekend in
I should've
preparation
watched
for
that.
this.
Instead of Nosferatu.
Anything besides Nosferatu. The movie where I wanted to leave, and I was like, how can I get out of here?
I would have been livid, and you know it.
That's why I didn't leave.
You know,
Because I don't think it would end
Lower-
well, but hey, babe, I'll be right back. And I just don't come back, and that wouldn't have ended well.
And I would come to get you and missed an important part, probably. Who knows?
don't worry about him. The plague got him. He's fine.
Is there going to be a third season of the show, do you think, or do they wrap it up with 2?
Well, they finished the story of Interview with the Vampire.
Okay.
If they do a third season, it's probably going to be the Vampire Lestat.
So they probably won't do a third season then.
No, they might.
Okay.
they
Or just
might
make a whole
actually.
new show.
Yeah.
Like it'll just be the Vampire Lestat. It'll just be called that. It's like
Okay,
AMC
yeah.
has the rights to all of the books.
Really? Wow. Okay. So you just sit on a property. Okay.
Like they went all in on Anne Rice's stuff. They also have the rights. They did a Mayfair Witches series.
Oh, yeah, I want to watch that.
Same.
Oh, same. Alexander Daddario's in it.
I know that name, but I can't remember
I'll watch
where.
anything with her in it. But that was also a great series. And they have all the rights to the Mayfair Witches books too. They have all the rights for the Vampire Chronicles Mayfair crossovers. So like
Also, I know this because someday I'm going to go to New Orleans. Anne Rice's old house still exists.
oh
We're
yeah.
all there. He's there.
I'm walking over to it and get a picture in front of it. So that's happening at some point if I get to New Orleans, which I will someday.
So like
I
I
really-
fully expect AMC to keep going.
Good. I hope so because of good stuff. I mean, this movie, I think, like, Claudia, in the book, Claudia is 5, but I think it makes complete sense that she's 12 or 10 in this, whatever she is.
She's 5 in the book?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because they turn someone into a vampire, they really shouldn't do it. But it's also Lestat being an asshole. Like, he knows better than to turn someone that young into a vampire because you don't ever age, so you are stuck forever in this small body. Like, it's a terrible way to live.
Here's the thing though, and they touch on this in the second season. He doesn't really know better. He's young
Yeah.
comparatively. Like he got made and his maker put himself in the fire. Like immediately.
I forgot about that because that's not mentioned in here. I couldn't remember. I thought his maker was somebody that was in like the later book.
Now
They went into the
Magnus.
damn stuff.
Magnus was his maker, made him, and then immediately went into the fire.
I don't remember that part.
Which
Apparently, he
is
didn't want to live forever.
wild. But that Lestat actually did come in contact with Armand's coven in Paris. And they're the ones who made the rules.
Oh.
Like you can't make somebody too young. Oh, you have to get permission to make new vampires. That was all Armand's coven. Like, those aren't
Okay.
real rules.
Armand
Boy, do they
is
take them seriously. Oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
also Armand is I
They do
think a
not
lot
mess
more
around.
evil in the book and in the series than he is in this movie, if I remember correctly.
Oh, Armand's super fucking evil.
Okay, yeah, they don't really show it in this movie because you get a little bit of Antonio Banderas, but
And he's more like, I can't control him. I tried to help.
yeah, I mean, we're a democracy essentially is kind of how he makes it seem. But I know he has a whole book, if I remember correctly.
He
And
does.
Okay, is that Blood and Gold?
No,
That's called Armand.
that's Marius's book. The
Okay.
Armand's book is cleverly called The Vampire Armand.
Okay. I at one point bought the entire series.
I still have it. I'll start.
It wasn't for you. It was before you.
Oh, rude.
Well, it wasn't.
Maybe I'll get it.
Hey, someone bought you the first edition of the first book back when they first started dating.
Is that the one that's signed?
Yes,
It's
that you never read.
It's somewhere.
And
Sometimes the way they word things throws me off and makes me feel stupid. So I think
Interview's not bad. Lord of the Rings, that's fair. Interview, from what I remember, is not bad. And Rice had a good. I haven't read her books with it forever, so I can't really speak a whole much. But I just remember Armand being very evil, and this movie doesn't really get to it. But
he's ineffectual, and he didn't do as much as he could have to save Claudia.
Yeah. I do like the whole thing when Claudia and Louis, because there's some really good scenes with Claudia. When she sees the naked woman, she's like, I want to be her. And they're like, you never will be. You'll never change. You'll never grow. And then when they find the dead body in the room covered in dolls, he's like, I get you a doll every year to kind of give you a little idea of how many years she's been there. There's some really good subtle stuff that they do. I really like with her. I mean, Kirsten Dunst was amazing in this.
It was so good.
Movie too. But everything with Claudia is just great.
That whole middle part with Claudia is actually really fantastic. I also love the fact how gleefully she enjoys being a vampire because she has the. It's interesting how you said it, Ken, where the Tom Cruise character, he's just not a very good mentor. He's the worst person you could possibly ask to actually turn you, because he's just this bored dandy who just wants nothing more than to just flit about the globe and try different cuisines, so to speak. He doesn't take it seriously. He knows the rules, but he doesn't really care. And he's kind of enjoys it too much. He enjoys the hunt too much. And what I love about Brad Pitt's character in this, and Louis' character, is he's still holding on to those pieces of humanity that make this kind of detestable and gross. Because it's no longer detestable and gross to Lestrade. And I keep saying Lestrade. It's not Lestrade. Lestrade is the person who's constantly trying to live up to Sherlock Holmes. That's Lestrade. That's Lestrade. Damn it. Yeah, so I do like that duality. I think that makes a lot of sense. And actually, you were talking about the costuming and how the translucent nature of the makeup was changing as the characters were hungry and needed a nosh. Evidently, according to Amazon Prime X-Ray, which kept popping up at inopportune moments, but I did glean a few nuggets of information. I really do hate that feature. I wish there was a way. There's got to be a setting where I can just turn that off and not have it just pop up just because I bumped the table. It's just get out of the way.
It never pops up for me unless I press a button.
If I move the dumb mouse, I don't know. It kept popping up.
Oh, you're watching
on
the computer. Okay.
Yeah, I was watching on the computer last night. And anyway, so according to that, in order to achieve that look, this is actually one of those things that sounds fake, but hey, X-Ray said it's true, so it must be true. Evidently, the actors all had to hang upside down for 30 minutes before each take. So the makeup people could then draw accurate blood vessels because their blood would drain into their heads and extremities. So then they would trace accurate blood vessels from what was popped out. And then they would do the take real fast in order to kind of keep that ashen look on their face.
I hope that's not true.
They couldn't just do it? What kind of makeup artist are you? That you can't just draw veins on something?
I don't know. They are people who won the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards for Best Makeup Effects. So I don't know. To ask the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards, worthy enough to get a lot of awards that year, evidently. That evidently is a thing, again, according to the internet, which is always a reliable source of information.
This time they're right.
They are right.
Did happen.
That's real?
Yes. Oh. Yes, they did hang up so that their veins could be traced.
Stupid.
It's the best way to get realistic looking veins. You ever try to freehand draw veins yourself? You look like a dope.
You look like a silly goose with a shaky hand on your head. You can't do it.
But you get actual veins that you can trace? Oh, shit. Yeah, gold.
Fair enough. I don't know a better way, but I'm not a makeup artist, so I don't.
That still seems too much.
It seems too much. Poor Kristen Dunst.
$60 million.
Yeah.
Nothing's too much.
It's $60 million and they couldn't figure out a better way to draw a face.
Okay.
I think it's a great way.
It does look realistic. Now we know why. Hey, your fun fact
It's
brought to you by Bill moving his mouse.
Yep. My shaky hands and nervous feet hitting my keyboard by mistake sometimes.
Thanks, Bill's mouse.
You're welcome. Oh, sorry, I'm tired. Why I just
I'm
did
tired
that. That was
too.
terrible.
What I don't normally do, I'm drinking a bottle of movie, drink a bottle of wine, and talk about it. But it's not red wine, unfortunately. I feel like it should be red wine.
Oh, we did have red wine.
I know,
You
and
didn't tell me.
I didn't think about it until just now. It took almost a whole bottle of wine for me to have that thought.
Evidently, Oprah Winfrey walked out of an advanced screening of this movie only 10 minutes in because of the gore and dark themes.
This is not gory.
10 minutes in?
10 minutes in!
Is there really that many gore?
No, there's no gore. I mean, this
In Beloved.
I know.
I was not even gory.
She can, according to Wikipedia, again, which is a source of all information, she considered canceling an interview with Tom Cruise promoting the film, stating, "I believe there are forces of light and darkness in the world, and I don't want to be a contributor to the force of darkness."
Okay, that's just somebody who's a little too far up their ass with stuff. That
I mean,
Is that?
I mean, you do know that vampires aren't real, as far as we're aware. So, not real darkness.
But
It's fine.
they were gay vampires, and that's not okay.
You sure that played a part in it too back then.
well, over 20 years later, Oprah Winfrey would fund and star in A Wrinkle in Time, which I think is equally, if not more offensive than this movie because it exists and it wasted my time. Because I actually went to the theater to see that. To be fair, because I was doing work for the blog I wrote for, and I saw like an advanced screening, and I didn't pay to see A Wrinkle in Time. So I don't want anyone to think I actually paid to see that movie. That movie stinks so bad.
Okay, there's not a lot of movies that I'm upset that I go to. Nosferatu is one of them.
The only reason I wasn't super annoyed is because I didn't pay for it and they fed me. That was the only. I got fed and I didn't pay for it. So
and you still didn't like the movie. So that's saying something.
It is such a piece of garbage. So the fact that Oprah Winfrey 20 years later made just a really bad movie just goes to show that hopefully she looks back on that choice and says, maybe I shouldn't have been so hard on Mr. Cruise for his participation in Interview with the Vampire.
Scientology right there. That's okay to hate Cruise for, not this.
I said if she was so good, she'd have a TV show.
Yeah, exactly. That Oprah Winfrey.
Maybe that's why she was upset she couldn't give away free copies of the movie to everybody. Huh? So. The Claudia stuff is all good. I like the way that they kill Lestat. I think that's try to kill Lestat. I think that's all really good where she convinces him to drink the blood and she's like, I poisoned it. Like, something would still be warm for you. Like, she pulls it off so well.
But what she's surprised when she feeds him to the alligators that he's still alive. What did she think was going to happen?
Because he made it seem like if you drink dead blood from a dead person, you'll die.
I think it significantly weakened.
It weakened him, but then you also put him in a place with other creatures that he could feed on.
He was the better predator.
You also cut his throat, though.
Oh, yeah.
Drained him, yeah.
So, like, there's every possible reason that she would be like, he's done.
Yeah,
and lit him on fire when he comes back.
And yet that you can't keep a good vampire down because he takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
Still he persists.
Which one of my I really enjoy that ending, that towards the end when he's in that chair and when he's in that abandoned house and Louis is like, I smell old death, and he approaches, and he's just doing okay, kind of hanging in there, doing what he's got to do. And I love the fact when Louis approaches him, he kind of jumps back. Like, he's so frail and afraid. Great like moment when Lestat kind of does that jump back. Like, it's really, really excellent work.
And it bums me out because that scene would have meant so much more if they would have left the scene where Louis encounters Lestat after the Theater de Vampire experience. There was originally a scene of them running into each other because in the book, Lestat's the one that lets it slip that, they tried to kill me. Because he and Armand are old buddies.
They didn't read their minds, which I would have preferred that. I would have preferred the book does to the movie, but the movie is fine. The
movie's already long, man.
Yeah, so I get it. They're trying to wrap it up. I mean, it's a little over 2 hours, but it didn't feel that long. Like, I watched this movie the same day I watched Nosferatu, and I didn't fall asleep.
Shut up.
Well, like, it's 94, but it's like a 2 hour long movie. That's like artsy fartsy length back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Still artsy fartsy length, I think, at the time.
No.
3 hours long.
That's too long.
I love a tight 90, but, I'll sit through a loose 4 hours.
I had no problem with this movie's length. I thought I was actually very engrossed in this movie, and there wasn't any snapping going on. There was note taking, but no snapping. Like, I was very into this movie.
Have you ever seen it before this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Very, very long time. A long time ago, I dated someone that really liked vampire stuff. So
When Mike was dating a bitch.
that's all I got more. That's all I got into vampire stuff. That's what led to it, and that's why I read all these books.
I feel like if you dated people in the 90s or 2000s, you dated somebody who was into vampires. So.
Yeah.
And it was the
Yeah.
2000s, but yes.
I was into vampires as well.
Mhm.
I mean, I still kind of am. I like vampires.
You do.
Like you dated somebody and then you realized why it wasn't a good idea to date people who were really into vampires.
I had a friend who told us once he was a vampire. He wasn't.
I have
What is
a
that?
story that is not for the podcast.
Aw.
Come on. There's no
It
such
is-
thing.
It is a long story
Okay.
Podcast
because it took place over an entire year.
No.
But like, I
really
knew
want the
somebody that
story
was
now.
super
want
into
the
vampires.
story. Can you give us the cliff notes?
I dated somebody once upon a time who told me in all seriousness that she was a vampire, and it was weird. It was a weird thing, a very strange year.
Did you
For
drink
Jen.
blood?
No,
Oh, okay.
Did she drink blood?
I know who I am. I'm not sure that she did.
The friend of mine didn't last long with him being with him telling us he was a vampire. No, you don't. But I just remember him telling us he was a vampire. But he did go out and sun out, so I don't know how he put two and two together.
He sparkles.
He did not sparkle.
Oh, yeah, there's something Nosferatu gave us, the original one. Vampires getting killed by sunlight was never a thing before that movie.
It's true.
Oh,
Yeah, I
really?
forgot about that. Yeah.
Yep.
okay. I do like in this movie how they like the cross, don't care about him, doesn't do anything. Like, I do like how they say the cross is fake, garlic is the steak, doesn't do anything. Apparently fire and cutting your head off works though.
You
Yeah,
know, the
that
same
was
things
kinda-
that'll kill a
yeah.
human.
Yeah. Plus, you can cut them in half in a glorious fire emblazoned scene. I
That
guess
was great.
that'll do it. And setting them on fire will do it too. I guess. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Fire
Yeah.
destroys everything.
Yeah.
The
I actually
scene when
have the Louis with the scythe pop in my office at work.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that one.
That's cool.
a Funko Pop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Funko Pop of that?
There's a couple of them, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. I was all upset you wouldn't let me buy Claudia. It was when the series came out, but they were of the movie.
Okay, I don't think we have one with the scythe.
Yes, we do.
That was
Okay.
exclusive to Funko.com.
I ordered it somewhere. I guarantee you I have it.
Okay. No, so I do want to talk about, like, from a filmmaking scene when they shows them on the boat and to kind of do it quickly and probably cheaper to show where they're going. Like, they just have to paint the drawings that she was doing of all the different cities. I really like that. Scene,
Very
how they
smart.
end up in France.
Yeah.
Very smart filmmaking choice. Yes, I totally
Works.
agree. If you convey a lot of information in a short amount of time, you really get across the idea that they've been to all the different places, gallivanting around the world, trying again the local cuisine. But again, there's nothing fun about it. It just seems like a wandering existence at no point. And that's why at the end when Christian Slater is like, I want all of this, like everything you've said, I want this. Just give it to me now.
And
And
Pitt's
Brad
like,
Pitt
what the
goes,
fuck?
he's like, seriously? What did I just waste my breath for the last 2 hours
Not
blabbing
just
to you?
hear me.
He just
What-
wants to murder people, I think, is
Did
what
you-
it really is.
Yeah, it's like, did you not hear the story of my constant ennui? Like, did this not come across? Were you gazing longingly into my eyes too much to be? What did you miss? And I love his reaction too, as just from an acting standpoint. Like, then everything I said was for naught. Like, then why did I even bother talking to you, you Nimrod? So good.
Yeah, I didn't get that. Like, what made you want to live forever? Like,
That's why you're telling me the story, right? So you can turn me.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be a vampire. I mean, not this
would
vampire.
Kill
Maybe-
to live forever.
Maybe Twilight version, like where you can be out in sunlight.
No, and I think that's probably a matter of.
I mean, the movie's not
taste.
good, but the vampire life is better in Twilight than it is in here.
If you play him properly.
So like they have a much better existence. They just do. That movie is not good.
Let me put it this way, Ken Sanity, who just said that you would kill to live forever.
Yep.
Imagine how many times you'd have to introduce yourself to somebody.
Yeah.
Like how many times would you have to like tell the same story? Like, well, I grew up.
And would be okay with it.
No, I don't. I want to make
create a new life for myself every 50 years.
Yeah, I guess, and you wouldn't age, but it's like
I wouldn't
don't
age.
know.
I would be able to study whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted to do it.
I
would be constantly impressed by the new movies that are coming out in technology.
Me again, maybe this is just me being almost not living the ennui of Brad Pitt in this movie, but feeling his what does it matter kind of vibe. I think I would just be like, really, I gotta live in my brain forever. Like I have to live with this forever. Like
torturous.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Can we? Let's just put a time limit on this. I don't know. The immortality does not sound appealing to me, and it never did. Even before like my current faith and all that, like it never sounded like a good deal.
Having to kill 1 to 3 people a night too seems a little ridiculous.
It's like you
really
lose so much of yourself.
I could eat 1 to 3 pizzas a night. Like it's
but no one's gonna wonder why the pizza went missing. They're gonna wonder why Joe went missing. Okay, they're gonna wonder.
Yeah,
nobody's wondering about what happened to Domino's Pizza.
You don't shit where you eat. You don't kill where you live. Like Claudia gets in trouble for that.
Yes.
No offense to Louis. I'm built different. I could make this work for me.
Fair enough. You know what? It's all about different constitutions, I think. You know what? Wow. Because once you're locked in, you're in. Like, unless you just want to say, all right, fine, I'll just throw myself into a furnace and then when things get too rough, that's not too grim about it.
I don't like fire.
Yeah.
So.
See, I've had quite a few existential crises by this point in my life.
That's fair.
Like I went through several life-changing events. So like I've pretty much gone through the bad stuff already.
So now he's ready to eat people?
Now I'm ready to just live forever because I've survived this long. I can't imagine another 200 years would be worse.
Wait, would you just eat the bad people? Like Kira killing off the bad people in the Death Note?
I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. I can't tell you how I'm going to feel that day.
I couldn't do it.
Literally a devil-may-care, just fly by the seat of your pants vampire lifestyle. You know what? I dig it. I'd watch that movie. I'd watch that series.
I do love our conversations on here.
I would be a good vampire.
I still want to know more about this girl you dated, though.
I don't know.
You don't.
I'd be terrible. I don't know.
There could be some fun stuff. She thinks she's a vampire. So hey, depending on where you're going, I might, So.
Oh, Lord.
So.
That sigh said it all.
Yes, it did. I do want to say, like, when they get to France, like, everything, when he first meets a vampire and he's like, my God, I didn't know there were more. Like, there are others. Like, I really like that when he meets Diego. Is that his name? Santiago? You know, Santiago's an asshole.
I love Santiago.
I blame the wine I've been drinking here. The strawberry rhubarb
Santiago
wine.
in the movie. I love him in the book. I love him in the show. Like, he's just the best. He's an asshole. He's unrepentant. I love him.
He really is. He really is an unrepentant dick. He's not great.
I like how he mimics Lewis when he first sees him. He's like, "Oh, I do, just doing what he's doing." Like, I think that's good. The stuff with Armand. So I had a question. So when they're with her in the movie, that they essentially read their mind and realize that they killed Lestat or tried to kill Lestat, or they think Lestat's dead, and then they come to them and take them in the night. One, Lewis had just turned Claudia another person so she can have a person. I mean, technically she would need a person. She's a child. She she's not a child, but she looks like a child. She would have to have somebody else there.
Yeah.
And I felt bad for that woman that gets chained. The night she's chained, she gets murdered again.
I know. What a chip. She was through all of that pain, all that. She doesn't get any of the benefits of it. And first night, it's like, oh, welcome to the coven. We're gonna now stick you into a pit and let you get turned to ash, which is a very sad scene. And again, even though I really like Claudia and I thought she was a fun character, but and a fascinating one as well. Not just fun. She's fascinating and rather tragic because all of her angst is well warranted. Hey, you robbed me of growing up. Like you robbed me of evolving. Like I am now 38. You know, if she was 12 in the movie or 10 in the movie when she was taken from her. And by the way, I do have to say I had a weird bit of cognitive dissonance when I keep saying Lestrade. I keep saying Lestrade. I'm just too much of a Sherlock Holmes fan. I'm sorry.
That's fair.
When Lestat is dancing with the rotting corpse of Claudia's mom, I had a cognitive dissonance moment where I was like, this is rather fun and exceedingly ghoulish. And my brain couldn't make sense of how I felt. I was very emotionally confused at that moment. I didn't know how to feel. So I don't know. It was a good moment. But anyway, Claudia is one of the most interesting characters because she was genuinely robbed of growing up, and she has every reason to be pissed off at these two.
Yeah.
She's completely justified. Hey, you did this to me. Like, and even though Lestat is the main person, you know, Louis was the one who started it. He's the one who fed off of her. So yeah, it's a really great. So when she dies and when she gets turned to ash, it's really, really sad. It really struck me like, oh man, that really stinks. Even beyond the fact that it is, you know, a 10-year-old girl getting murdered or getting killed. Just thematically as well, from a character standpoint, it was tough.
Yeah, it's a hard one. Like, they didn't need to do it. And the way they do it, too, where they're laughing and all excited as they're about to commit another murder, like, yeah, it's a little intense. I do not like that, Coven.
So well done.
So I was wondering, why did they put Louis in a coffin just for Armand to release him, like, the next day?
Armand wasn't supposed to release him.
Okay.
Like,
He was supposed to rot in there.
he was supposed to die of starvation, which vampires can do, but they go insane before that happens. And they put him in the wall upside down. Which is wild.
That's awful.
Like they were not messing around. They wanted to cause him problems. And respect.
It made me think of that Edgar Allan Poe story when they start putting the bricks in front by the coffin. I'm like, you got a coffin. You need to brick it up too. Like,
well, if somebody comes down there?
Yes.
Yeah, it was not a good time.
Okay, I was wondering about that because it seemed like Armand releases him so quickly, and then they don't do anything. So, like, why go through all that trouble just to release him?
You'd think that he releases him quickly, but that mortar was set that they bricked him up with. Like,
so it might have been a few days.
You see chunks. Yeah, it's been at least a couple days.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty shitty. It was just weird that Armand did that. Like, just let them do it and then just released them.
He wanted Louis.
Do anything.
Oh, yeah, this is a way to get rid of Louis' partner, so.
Yeah, he wanted Louis, so he didn't care how he got it. He's
not a good person, so that's fair.
No.
I don't remember what he does in the books. Or maybe it's in the later books.
He's more of a willing participant in the books when Claudia's death.
Okay.
And
that part,
not great overall.
The stuff with the ash is like when he goes in and touches her, she just falls apart. I thought that was a really good effect too.
Oh god, that was so good.
It is, but it's well done.
It is.
And then when he goes back and murders everybody there, like that is also so well done.
Good.
You turn light them on fire, then killing them with a scythe. Love that.
Are we all in agreement that he just had high proof wine that he was spilling everywhere and lighting on fire?
I mean, it is France. So there's going to be wine.
They didn't really have gasoline. So I was just thinking it was like a high...
Yeah, oil in the 1800s. Lantern oil and stuff.
Red. It looked red. I don't know what he was spilling. I mean, it would have been refined petroleum, whale oil. Man, I don't know. It's a very good question.
Wine. It could have been wine.
I thought it was wine because of the barrels that it was.
Yeah, but would wine burn like that?
Technically, any wine can catch fire under the right conditions, but most standard wines have too low an alcohol content.
Yeah,
really,
I mean, well, maybe.
Yeah, but you're talking about what, the 1800s?
Yeah.
You're talking about back when, wine was to get you fucked up.
Yeah, and this is France.
Yeah. Like they take their booze serious. So I'd like to think that it was just really flammable, but I don't know.
I mean, it lit a lot of people on fire, though, that's for sure. But I do enjoy that there's a scene at the end where he gets to kill Santiago. Oh, that was good.
Is that the one he cuts in half?
Yeah, with the scythe.
That's pretty good.
Oh, that was so badass with the scythe. And, I mean, the scythe is there because it was part of that play. Oh, we didn't talk about, but that play where it's vampire, or he even says it's vampires acting as human, acting as vampires. I really like that. I like how they murder somebody right on the stage and nobody realizes it.
See, that's
They
that's
didn't
the
want to
one
realize it.
that's the one inaccuracy that I gotta complain about in this movie. In the book, like they love that shit. The Parisians are all about it. They think it's genius. In the movie, everybody walked out looking vaguely disturbed.
Yeah, I didn't like. I thought they
Nah.
should have been more excited because
Nah.
No,
it fit
vaguely
the
disturbed.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they love that shit. They thought it was artsy as hell.
But do these vampires have the ability to kind of like mind control you a little bit to where you're kind of in a trance? I can't remember if that's an Anne racist stuff.
It can. Every vampire has their own abilities. Like it even varies amongst the vampires in Interview with the Vampire.
Okay.
Like Lestat can fly. Not many vampires can.
Okay. But I know in the book he doesn't learn to fly till later.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just been a long time, and there's every fiction has their own stuff with vampires, so I couldn't remember what this had and what this didn't have.
And it kind of melts together, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. At least, yeah. So, okay. No, all that stuff is just so good, and that play is, I really like that too. And I was expecting her to scream a little bit more before she gets murdered, like to be more like, let me out of here, someone help me. And they're just like,
Hey, nobody.
a little, but not like to the extent of someone about to be murdered. I was thinking more her to get like more animated about it, like help me, somebody. Like, oh, what a great play! I'll play.
I like the lady in the audience. Pick me.
You don't want to be up there.
It's your turn.
That was funny.
Like there's a lot of darkly funny things in this movie.
Yeah, there are.
And
Absolutely.
I don't think people talk about how darkly funny this is. Like there are legitimately, at least for me, laugh out louds.
There's a few.
And like, that personal mileage may vary, obviously. But
And they talk about a little bit in the movie. I know the book does more of it. That he was with Armand for a long time.
oh yeah.
Before they just went their separate ways. I think, and that's why he comes to Louisiana, is because of Armand wants to see his hometown, and that's how he ends up back there, which the movie did not do.
Yeah. And Lestat also didn't find Daniel. Daniel went looking for Lestat and found Armand. And that's how Daniel gets turned into a vampire.
Daniel's the interviewer, correct?
Yes, Daniel Malloy.
So like that whole, I know that whole scene with the end, the way this movie ends is not in the book, correct?
No, but I like it.
I do too. It's
one huge issue with it, but
go for it. Yeah.
No, you talk first.
Oh, I was just saying that there's something very, I think tonally it's interesting because it has a, I should have written this down because I had a thought in my head and it went away. This has been happening a lot lately. I apologize to all the friendly folk who are listening at, hour and a half now of us blathering about this movie. There's something very almost cartoonish about it that for some reason tickled me. I don't know why. I like the way it ends. It's almost this kind of like you can't keep a good vampire down vibe. It's like Lestat is still kicking, still doing his thing. He's not going to stop. He's always going to be out there just being, he'd probably be an annoying he'd be an annoying YouTuber or TikTok influencer now. Like,
he would be.
Oh, he would be. He would absolutely be like, hey, this
Vampire
is Lestat.
Hashtag vampire life.
Hashtag vampire life. I'm here. He would just be
my latest
insufferable.
kill.
Not hashtag blessed.
Yeah, he would be insufferable these days. With imagine Lestat with a social media presence. That would not be good at
that
all.
would be great.
No, but he would do that. He would 100% do that.
Absolutely, he would 100% do that.
And everybody would think it was fake, so they'd be like, "Yeah, I have to kill her."
Yeah, you would. He would be insufferable. Can you also exclaim that you enjoy the ending in this movie? Why did you like it?
I love it for similarly, the reasons that you do, but I can actually, I have my own reasons why that hits so well, that ending, is because you have just been through like a 2-hour-long slog. Like, it is very much a meditation on grief and survivor's guilt, and it's hard. But at the end, here swoops in the fun. This is your fun uncle. He's gonna buy you beer. He's gonna make sure that you get in the rated R movie. Your parents are lame. Now it's time to have fun with Uncle Les. Let's go. Like, it's like a tide break, the wave breaking against the shore. Like, you have all this tension of the wave, and then once it hits the shore, it breaks up and it dissipates into just more of a free-flowing existence. And that's what it feels like, that transition between Louis and Lestat. It's just like Louis sad. Lestat, typer. Oh my God. You were just listening to Louis talk? Oh, what a bitch. Anyway, let's have fun.
You want some of this? I got you, brother. Give me that neck. I need a writing partner. Let's go.
Yeah. Lestat is basically let's fucking go personified. Like, you tell him not to do it, he's gonna do it. Everybody refers to him in the books and the fan base as the Brat Prince. And I feel like Tom Cruise really nailed that aspect of Lestat.
He really did, though.
Yeah.
Like, Tom Cruise's Lestat is bratty as hell. It is Brat Summer for him for like 500 years. That reference is still topical. Shut up.
Yeah, it's great. I'm into it. I'm super into it. I love it.
But like, he's the fun. If Louis is the heart and soul of this movie, then Lestat is the fun and swagger.
Yes. No, totally. That is a huge, totally agree. And Tom Cruise does a great job. And what I like about Tom Cruise, and the reason people were very, very cool on Tom Cruise playing this role, is that Tom Cruise up until that point really hadn't, I don't want to say he hadn't stretched his wings. I think he had already done A Few Good Men. He was always like the boyish he was a boyish, fun kind of guy. He wasn't a sexy a sexy seducer. Yeah, he didn't seem like he would play that part well, but he really ends up injecting that kind of fun into this character. So yeah, it's nice to see him back. You're like, yeah, let's go. You kind of suck, but I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
All right. So my stupid complaint is at the end when he turns the radio on, I was like, I recognize this song, and then the voice starts singing. I'm like, that's not Mick Jagger. Garbage. Like, it's a cover band. It was Guns N' Roses playing Sympathy for the Devil. And then I realized, I really don't like Guns N' Roses.
But it was a perfect song.
But I didn't want to hear Axl Rose's dumbass. I want to hear Mick Jagger's singing it.
Well, that's
okay, but like, I choose to think of that as a reflection that Lestat's like listening to that song and just like, I could do that.
No, the song was good. I just was upset that it was the Guns N' Roses version. Again, a me complaint.
I like it because I like to think of it as a lead into the event second.
I wonder why we didn't get a second movie.
Well, first off, this was $60 million.
But it made back its money, didn't it?
Oh, it made back substantial money. It made more than double. Like, it made 220 something million. So like, it made money.
Yeah.
But Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt kind of hated each other after this. They've never worked together again.
Oh,
I did not realize that.
Yeah.
And I was always wondering why they didn't make another one of these. I mean, yeah, we do get Queen of the Damned, but that
does not fucking count. Do not ever utter that movie title in my presence.
Oh.
It's not a sequel to this.
No, it's a standalone that has the same characters, but none of the same actors.
Yeah.
And it's horrible.
I like the Leah.
I remember liking it, but I haven't seen it in a very, very long.
Didn't that come out after Leah died?
I think so. I think it was like Leo's last movie.
That was sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was an okay movie, but it didn't have any of the... It didn't have the feel of the first one.
It came out in February of 2002. She died in 2001, so yeah, it came out after her. Okay. Sorry, what were you saying, Ken? Please keep going.
I was just going to say, I'm not going to talk ill of the dead, but no.
I mean,
that movie's horrible.
That's fine. It's not talking ill of the dead. I mean, if you make a bad movie, make a bad movie. It doesn't, not like you're saying she's a bad person.
She was good in it.
No, she wasn't.
I liked
Okay, I was just always considering, like, why they didn't do something with this. Because this movie ends where you could do a sequel, but also you didn't need Brad Pitt again because the next movie would have been Lestat. You don't need Brad Pitt for that because Louis is not in the second movie. The second book.
He is in the second book.
Yes?
Yeah.
God, it's been a long time.
Like, not toward the end, but like the second book is all about Lestat's growing up and, how he became a vampire, what he did in his life beforehand, then his version of what happens during all of this. Which basically says, Louis a bitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
But, and then Lestat decides to become a rock star. Like, a legitimate concert venue rock star. And he does, because he's fucking Lestat. Of course he does. And all the vampires are pissed at him. And they
Well, I mean,
want to
isn't
kill him.
Isn't it kind of the perfect gig though? Like you do it at night. Groupies can be your meal after the concert. Like
Yeah. Like it's a perfect gig for a vampire. Problem is other vampires are basically Will Smith at the Oscars and saying keep our name out your fucking mouth. And they want to kill Lestat.
Interesting. I think that sounds cool. I didn't even realize this was a whole series until my wife educated me on this this afternoon while we were chatting about it. So yeah, this is that sounds like a lot of fun.
I'd suggest giving him a shot. Like Interview with the Vampire is as morose as, we all realize it is, because Anne Rice did write this after her daughter. And like it's kind of a bummer of a book, but from the second book forward, they're just a blast.
And there's 11 of them altogether, I think.
there's 11 of them.
There's 5 or 6 in the main series, and then she wrote more.
I'm bad at series.
So, no, they're good.
Is it on 11? I thought it was more now.
I could be wrong. No, I don't think so. She's been dead for... Well, she's been dead... 2021. She didn't die that long ago.
13. There's 13 mainline books.
Okay. They're good books. I know. She wrote her last one in 2018.
Yeah.
Wow. Props.
And Lestat also went to Atlantis in 2016.
Yeah, I just see that 2016. Prince Lestat in the Realms of Atlantis. Wow.
I haven't read anything past Blackwood Farm, but I think I'm going to do that this year.
I read the first 5. I read Interview, Lestat, Queen of the Damned, Body Thief, Monarch the Devil, then I stopped there, and I never read Armand, Merrick, Blood and Gold, or any of these. So, okay. Oh, and she even wrote other ones, too, because she wrote Vitriol the Vampire, and then she wrote 3 books of the Mayfair Witches stuff.
Yep.
I liked her stuff, though. She had a book that she was partly involved in that came out in 2022, it looks like. Huh. All right. With her, it was Christopher Rice, so I'm assuming that might be her son.
That is her son.
Okay.
She also wrote 2 books about Jesus, The Life of Jesus Christ.
Oh.
That's an interesting switch on subjects.
Okay.
Yeah, really.
She got into religion for a while after not being into religion, and then got out of religion once she was like, hey, the Catholic Church doesn't like gay people. My son's gay. That's not cool. Get the fuck out of here, church.
All right. Yeah, I never read any of her other books. I just read the first 5, and that was it.
You should read. Read the Beauty series.
I don't read. That's my problem, though.
Read the Beauty series. It's trilogy. Those are actual pornographic books. Like they're not really pornographic books, but they're very explicit.
The only thing I read are comic books at this point.
He doesn't read porn. I'll read pornographic. That sounds.
You will, yeah.
Maybe we need a Games My Mom Found book club.
I've actually thought about reviewing books on this podcast a few times, like the BioShock books and other video game books.
You probably will not see Tiffany on that.
No, of course I wouldn't. But
what do you think, fans? Let us know.
That's right. Let us know in the comments.
In the comments and Discord.
Just join the Discord. Please, join the Discord. All right. Any last things you guys want to say about this movie? Should we go to Shelf, Stacker Box?
I'm good with Shelf, Stacker Box.
All right. Well, Tiffany, why don't you lead us in?
Shelf. Like, it still holds up for me, minus the stuff that was with... But my stuff with Louis and Claudia, which was always kind of weird, but it still holds up to me, and I put it on the shelf.
All right. And Bill.
You know what? Surprisingly, and I shouldn't say surprisingly, because I've said nothing but good things about this. I'm gonna put this on the shelf as well. I was really glad that y'all made me watch this. I was close to being like, man, do I even want to be on this episode? Because I don't know, because I was traveling for the holidays and I just got back on Saturday, late Saturday, and it was Sunday. And I'm like, do I really? But you know what? I'm so glad I did, because I really connected with the ennui and the fact, the notion that vampirism isn't all it's cracked up to be all the time. And I really loved it. I thought the performances are great. It is shot gorgeously. It's got all the things, and it is not boring like my edgelord 15-year-old friends said back in 1994/95. So I'm gonna say shelf. I really enjoyed this. This was great, and I would absolutely watch this again. This was fun.
I'll go next. I'm also gonna put it on the shelf. I did enjoy this movie a lot. I mean, I had a few complaints, but they were complaints that because of the show just does other things, but that doesn't take away from this movie. The movie's still really good. I enjoyed it. I didn't fall asleep. I wasn't bored. It goes on the shelf. Great vampire movie. And Ken.
I don't think it's going to surprise anybody that I'm putting this on the shelf. As a young burgeoning goth child, as I was, this movie was an obsession for me back then. And it's great. Like you said, it still holds up. It's a hell of a movie. Great roles, great acting, great cinematography. This movie's just, if it ever does come back to the theater, I do want to see it in theaters.
Same.
Same.
Because I feel like this would hit different in theaters.
I would have
I do too.
taken you with no problem.
Where's my 4K, Warner? Give me a 4K.
Hey, if
Damn it.
they're busy trying to cut taxes now, they don't have time to release movies or anything. Busy.
Give a shit. They need to listen to me. I'm more important than their money. You heard me, Zaslav. I'm coming for you.
All right, I guess that's good. And Bill, where we'll find you at?
A Gamer Looks at 40. It's a podcast where I talk about old video games with a lot of other interesting people. And we talk about why we love the games we love and tell stories about games from back in the day. So go to agamerlooksat4040.com for all of my everything.
Right? And if you enjoyed this episode, hopefully there will be all the vampire stuff we have done in the show notes. If you want to check out other vampire movies, they will be in the show notes if I make a list, which I'm going to. So, and we have over 750 episodes of podcast. You can find everything we do on Podbean, so definitely go support the show. Check us out. Tons of content. This is your first episode. If you want to support the show, we do a Patreon, a little dog vote in our Patreon poll. We always have new people join us. We have 1 to 2 polls a month. One still. I need to get on that. But now that this is done, I might be able to finally get to 2 again because I finally get one of my commitments done.
Your backlog?
A backlog of commitments, yes. When you vote for it and it's a tie, I commit myself, but then I take 3 months sometimes because I'm busy. So definitely go check that out. Want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena at Hell Has Fear. Follow her on TikTok and Instagram. And please join our Discord, as I mentioned a little bit ago. But if you want to be on the show, if you want to suggest things for the show, if you want to chat with us, you just want to lurk in the Discord and make me smile, join the Discord, please. We have new people join us. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube. We're audio only, and rate me wherever you get your podcasts. I think that's everything I need to say, so we'll see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
So long.